Hey guys, welcome back. This video is a breakdown of what my first year at Columbia University online was really like, so stay tuned. If you're new to Queen of Quirk, hello. I'm Jane and I'm a college student. I'm in a program called the Dual BA program between Trinity College Dublin and Columbia University in the city of New York. I say that often. It's a program in which you spend 2 years at each university. I have already done my 2 years at Trinity and now I am halfway through my time at Columbia, which is scary because time has flown. I have finished my junior year. I am now rising senior and I'm currently doing summer classes, so it doesn't actually feel like I'm finished. I pretty much don't have a summer this year, but we move. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about what it's been like to do classes online and in the incorrect country. May I emphasize, I'm currently in Ireland. This is not New York, this is my childhood bedroom. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you do enjoy it and subscribe if you'd like more content like this, or leave suggestions below.
Identified a neuron that fires both when a monkey picks up a piece.
So my first ever Columbia class was actually last afternoon. I decided last minute to take a summer class because there's just so much uncertainty this time last year, so much. So I didn't really know what was going to happen in the fall. I ended up not going to New York, if that's not obvious already. I decided that, well, since I have no plans and Columbia have these summer online classes going on, I thought why not take the opportunity and get started. So my first class was a psychology class. I did it for a science requirement. It was called the Science of Psychology. Great class to do if you need to fulfill science requirements and you're not a science gal. You want to do something that's a bit more approachable. But I really enjoyed that class. It was really nice to do. It was only 6 weeks because summer classes in Columbia are 6 weeks long. So last July I joined this new initiative done by the Center for Undergraduate Global Engagement at Columbia called the Columbia Collaboratory. It was a really nice way to meet some more Columbia students before the college year began. It was just a few weeks long. We got to participate in some panels. There were little individual projects, but the main thing was a big group project, and my group were so great. Love my group to bits. Columbia Intfic. We created this interactive fiction website. I wrote a story for it last summer. Great fun. Since then I've been helping with social media. We come to the fall and we are not in New York yet, so I am at home here. If you have seen my day in the life video from November, you'll know that I took 2 classes in the fall. One of them was a sociology class to fulfill a social science requirement. That was really good. The social world. 2 great lectures, super interesting. And the other class I took was an astronomy class called Earth, Moons and Planets. Great professor. So sweet. He had 2 finger puppets, one of Isaac Newton and one of Einstein? I think it was Einstein. The reason I only took 2 classes in the fall was because I wanted to save more of my credits in classes for when I would actually be over in New York. I felt like only doing 2 classes in my first semester was a good way to settle into online university life. Felt like I was never overwhelmed. In the spring term, I took 4 classes. Thinking and decision making, which was a psychology class, another one for my science requirement. Then I did creative writing class, beginning fiction. And I did 2 English classes, literary text and critical methods and world fiction since 1965. They were my first 2 English classes at Columbia that I ever took. Loved the professors. They're so enthusiastic. I'm really glad I took those 2 classes because they involved reading texts that I don't think I would have come across otherwise in my life or possibly in other classes at Columbia. So for example, look at this big fat pile of books, beautiful stuff. But for my world fiction class, I read many things, and one of them was 100 Years of Solitude, which fantastic book, amazing. Difficult? Yes. So hard, so dense, but great. We spent 2 weeks on it, so really got into it in class. It was definitely my favorite text out of all of them. But we also did books like Seas of Migration to the North by Tayeb, Salih, Eileen Chang, Lost Caution, her short story, Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid, Orhan Pamuk's Snow. Orhan Pamuk is an amazing writer, a Turkish writer who won the I always say Nobel Peace Prize, but I mean the Nobel Prize for Literature. He won that in 2006, but he's also a lecturer at Columbia, so he was able to come to our class on Zoom, obviously. We were able to ask him questions and he talked about his writing process and just so fascinating. Also, Zadie Smith's The Embassy of Cambodia. Love this. Tiny book. I guess I didn't really have to order the book, but I did. I wrote essays on 4 texts, which were 100 Years of Solitude and The Embassy of Cambodia. That was one essay about catastrophe, and then another on Lucy and Snow on artistic processes. And literary text and critical methods is a class that English majors have to take, but I didn't have to, but I found out earlier this year before taking it. The lecture I got, instead of doing traditional canonical texts that you know, that I probably could have come across in Trinity anyway, she made this amazing reading list of all these fantastic African-American texts, and wow, just wow. I didn't print all of them. We read excerpts from novels, we didn't read a full novel, we did a lot of poetry and did some plays, but my favorites are here and they happen to be the ones that I ordered. We did NourbeSe Phillips' Zong. Fantastic collection of poetry, so moving, so like incredible. Like, look at this. Do you see that? I have so many little like sticky notes in here. Another set of poems I love, Danez Smith, Black Movie. Best poem, I'll have a link to it below, but it's called Dinosaurs from the Hood. I swear I didn't look at this page. Dinosaurs in the Hood. In the Hood. Fantastic set of poems. It's by Honorée, Fanonne Jeffers, Age of Phillis, inspired by the life of Phillis Wheatley. Just beautiful poetry. Also, Gwendolyn Brooks poetry. We also did her stuff because I didn't buy or print everything off, so I don't have that physically with me, but fantastic. Anyway, main thing from that is that my impression of the English department at Columbia, great so far. Can't wait to do more English classes. Thinking and decision making, psychology, very surprisingly good, especially because it's a psychology class and you know I love psychology, but there was a lot of maths and probability in it that I didn't expect. A lot of critical thinking, a lot of just fascinating concepts. The class was so well done, so well organized online. She really snapped. Like, she got her polls. We had like group work stuff and it was actually fun because it was like little games and stuff. And lastly, my creative writing class. Oh, so good. Overall, probably one of my favorite classes. My TA, an angel from heaven. She was so lovely and kind, but also had such great critique. And also the students in my class were so talented. It was a workshop, so like we submitted works and their works were so good. Wow, just the talent in Columbia. I wrote 2 chapters of a potential novel I may write. I have not written anything since, so don't get your hopes up. It's gonna be a long process, but I mean, my confidence and my ego was boosted in that class, so I kind of want to write this. I may write it, but anyway, hush hush. It's all, no promises made. Throughout the year, I also worked on an essay for an extra credit module for the dual BA program called Ideas and Perceptions of Europe, and I did my essay on Venice and film, and it was a really enjoyable assignment. This spring term I realized how much of a summer girl I am, because the more sunlight there was, just the better my experience of life was. Also, one big thing this year for me to get me through my Zoom classes is smoothies. Strawberry, banana, ice, sometimes a bit of blueberry. Sprinkle that in there. There were days where I was just not that motivated and, you know, wanted to do anything other than Zoom. I was also in lockdown for the majority of each semester, so fair. But I think what made this year so much more enjoyable than I expected was, one, the professors, the classes I took. Pure luck, but they were all great. Like, I did not have one bad class or bad teacher, TA, anything. Considering we were online, I thought that was really impressive. The latest class I had was at 9 PM and it was a lecture for literary text critical methods. I would be tired sometimes, but it was a chill class. But for the most part, my classes were evening, afternoon classes. No late nights. There were many international students in Columbia that were, you know, at home doing classes at 3 AM, midnight, 6 AM, crazy times. I am so grateful that the time zones worked out for me. I think what helped me get more settled into the mentality of Columbia life was joining clubs. So I joined 2 clubs. Oh no, apologies, I was in 3 clubs. One club was Rat Rock. I joined that in the fall. Rat Rock is a magazine in which student writers interview student artists, and I interviewed 2 artists. I've met some really cool people through Rat Rock, really cool creative people. And the same goes with Columbia Spectator, which is the newspaper at Columbia that I joined in the spring semester. I was a bit hesitant in general to also join Spectator in the spring because I was like, is there much point? Should I wait till I was there in person? But I'm so glad I did. Not only did I write some really fun articles, I wrote one on a senior showcase for the Columbia Musical Theatre Society. I wrote one on literary magazines at Columbia and another on a Barnard Film Festival panel. But my favorite article that I wrote was an interview with Mallory Bechtel. She is the former Zoe Murphy and Dear Evan Hansen, and she also acted in Hereditary. She's so talented, but also so lovely. I got to interview her because she is now a student at Columbia, like me. You can read that article and the other articles I mentioned below in the description too. They did some really cool social nights, like presentation nights and just like a social night with another section. Oh yeah, I was a writer for Spectator in the arts and entertainment section. And I still am. I don't know why I said was. I still am. I also did stuff for Columbia Info, as I already mentioned, some social media stuff. So what's Columbia really like? Pretty cool. Considering I have experienced it only online so far. Obviously it could be better. I could be there. Experiencing real life interaction with students, or even just doing online university in the correct country at least. It's the correct city. So yeah, not New York. Could be better, but very positive online experience. I've been in Ireland. I've been able to see my Trinity friends more in person because I'm at home and I haven't been able to see Columbia students, so it's been this weird limbo phase in which I'm kind of Columbia, kind of Trinity, because I'm seeing more Trinity but I'm doing classes for Columbia. It also kind of makes me just miss Trinity in some ways, because I'm just like, oh, it'd just be so much easier if I was just doing Trinity classes, because then I'd be in the right country. But then in other ways I'm like so excited and so pumped about Columbia. Now I have done some Columbia classes, still at home, and when I go over I'll know the deal. I'll know what's up. I'll know some people already. So I feel like it's going to help in my transition. I am really happy with how things turned out. I'm pleasantly surprised by my year online at home. I'm really lucky to say. I'm very lucky to say it. Being able to go into Trinity and use the library there, very lucky. I'm lucky to do that. I'm very grateful that I got to spend some more time with my Trinity friends and my home friends or school friends, and also my family. And while I may have lost some time in New York, I've gained time and other things, and that's kind of the perspective I want to take, because I've spent a good amount of time this year feeling regret, feeling like I've lost time, but I have to remember that I still have time. I will have time in New York, which I'm very grateful for. It's not like I've completely lost my opportunity to go. As much as I did enjoy this year, I will definitely prefer in person. No shade to online learning. It has its value to me. I did get something from it. I am very much looking forward to sharing with you guys the rest of my undergrad college journey. Who knows what Columbia will be like in person? I mean, I will know eventually, because Columbia has announced an in-person semester or year. So high hopes for the next year. I'm going to the US. Here we are. I'm now in New York. Oh my god.